Well, g'day everyone. Great to be back in Cairns with my ministerial colleague, Glenn Butcher, the Minister for Water, along with two very hard-working local members, the member for Cairns and the Assistant Minister for Tourism, Craig Crawford, and my ministerial, Michael Healy, and my ministerial colleague, Craig Crawford, the member for Barron River, where we meet today. The budget that I handed down a little over 2 weeks ago was focused on three things: the good, the better and the great. Good jobs for Queenslanders, better services for Queenslanders, and supporting the great Queensland lifestyle. And there is no better lifestyle in Queensland than in the far north of our state. But to protect that lifestyle, to protect the great Queensland lifestyle and the lifestyle of the far north, we have to invest, and invest for the future. And one of the things we need to invest in is water security. That's very important for this part of Queensland. Now, that might seem a little unusual for a city and a community based in the wet tropics, but we know there's been periods of dry. We know there's been periods of dry in Cairns and the far north, and that may continue as our climate continues to change. So what we need to do is provide security to the community of Cairns and this region, which is why our government is proud to have invested $107.5 million into the water security plan for Cairns. That will give confidence to local residents. It'll give confidence to the council with whom we will partner, along with the Australian government, and we look forward to the Australian government's commitment being confirmed in their budget in October. It'll give confidence to the community, confidence to business, confidence to residents, and confidence to all levels of government. This is our government, the Queensland government, investing for the future, making sure that the infrastructure is there, water security, along with a whole range of other investments in the far north to ensure this remains an amazing place for people to live, to raise a family and to start and grow a business. I might ask Glenn Butcher to say a few words, and then Michael Healy, and then Craig Crawford, and then happy to take some questions after that.
Thanks, Treasurer. This way this time, or either way? Great to be here in Cairns again today. You're right, mate. Yeah, my name's Glenn Butcher. I'm the Minister for Regional Development, Manufacturing and Minister for Water. It's great to be here in Cairns today with my parliamentary colleagues, especially the Treasurer, Cameron Dick, with us today, our Minister, Craig Crawford, and our Assistant Minister, Michael Healy, here in the wonderful electorate of Cairns. Today is another great day after the budget was announced a few weeks ago now. $107.5 million of state government funding to match the federal funding that we've seen in the recent election by the new Labor federal government. This now lets the council get on with the job of developing this project and getting shovels in the ground in the near future. What this means for this community and all of the Cairns communities are water security for a long time to come for this area. We know that the current dam is a very shallow dam. We have seen periods, as the Treasurer just said, where that dam does get extremely empty. And with this growing community, we need that security of water, not only for tourism, but for the local people that live here and the local businesses that rely on good, secure water. This project does just that. I want to also say to the local members that are in this area, without them, this project probably wouldn't have stacked up. They have been continuously advocating for this project and water security for this region for many, many months now. We've met in Parliament, we've met in my ministerial office in Brisbane. All of them made sure that we heard loud and clear that water security for Cairns is essential in this area moving forward. I was in Mackay yesterday for the Developing Northern Australia Forum that we had. Water is critical for the north, not only for the north of Australia, but for the North Queensland. And this project today delivers on just that in one of the far north biggest capitals in Queensland. So it's great to be here. A fantastic announcement. 3 levels of government supporting this project: the federal government, the state government, and our local council as well. I'll hand over to Michael now.
Thanks, Minister. Good morning, everybody. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge, obviously, the Treasurer and the Minister, because without their support, this would not have happened. This is a classic example of government working with the Regional Council. The Palaszczuk Labor government has made it abundantly clear from the outset that we will listen and we will work together, and there's no greater example than that. And I'm so pleased, along with Craig and Cynthia and also Curtis, to be able to deliver this vitally important piece of infrastructure for the ongoing development and growth of our city. In addition to that, I also just want to touch on one of the very obvious factors, and that is that we are seeing increasing costs in living, and as a result of this, one would expect to see our rates wouldn't go as high. So these are the sorts of things that the state Labor government is doing to put downward pressure on living costs. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to provide this. We know there's more to do. We will continue to work with the Regional Council. I want to thank everybody at my government's level for the hard work and for the terrific outcome. I'll now ask Minister Crawford to say a few words. Minister.
Thanks, Michael. As a group of MPs, we've been quite clear and very consistent on this proposal, and certainly Curtis, Michael and myself as the three MPs that hold seats across the broader Cairns Regional Council area. We've followed this, we've listened from the very beginning. It was a very, very well articulated argument that was put to us by the Cairns Regional Council, and we were able to take that argument and that case to government. We got a really good ear with various ministers, including the Treasurer as well, and we were able to obviously form that as part of the Queensland budget. This is a big win for the broader Cairns community. It's very easy to think that Cairns has an abundance of water because plenty of it falls from the sky and plenty of it runs out to sea every single year. But what we're talking about is the water that we catch and how big the catchment is that then feeds into the water supply that we need for drinking, that we need for industry and the likes. We cannot afford in this city to start clamping down on that. We are a tourist city. We want to be able to grow our industries. We have to be able to make sure that we have sustainable water supply going forward into the future. The numbers that we're talking about are predominantly for that financial year of around 24, 25, 26. So we've got ahead of the game, which is really, really good. Three levels of government working very well together. We have a federal commitment for this project as well. So what you're seeing now is the Albanese government, the Palaszczuk government and the Cairns Regional Council coming together on this for a very, very important cause for the City of Cairns. I'll hand back to the Treasurer now and we'll run questions.
Thanks, Craig. And can I add to what Glenn Butcher just said? Budgets don't happen by accident. They happen because of the dogged persistence of local MPs. And I want to particularly recognise Michael and Craig and Curtis Pitt for their advocacy for this project. This investment would not have been made if they had not been standing up for their community. And I want to recognise them for their advocacy. They are strong believers in the future of this part of Queensland. They've worked so hard since their election, and again, they have delivered for their community and delivered a very important investment. Happy to take questions on water or anything else you have. But
Treasurer, this funding is subject to a business case. Council's already provided the state government with 700 pages of that. Why is that not enough to get the ball rolling?
well, I'll let Minister Butcher say that, respond to that.
So we've made it quite clear to the Cairns Regional Council that this needs a business case. The funding that we've put forward is on a basis of an options assessment, which they've done, which is what you're saying is a 700-page document. We've always said to the Regional Council that they need to produce a detailed business case for us, which they are happily doing, which they will table to us in another few months' time. So we've asked them to do hard work. We've asked other councils around the state. We've just been up in Rockhampton region with that council who has a pipeline very similar to what we're seeing here. They've done their detailed business case. They're getting the funding as well. So we've made it clear to them that this needs a detailed business case to show us exactly what this project is and exactly how much it's going to cost. And they are doing that, and they're getting through that process as we speak.
Have you met with them while you've been here?
Just flew in just now. So no, I haven't.
Anyone met with them recently?
I had a meeting with them at 7 o'clock this morning, went for an hour and a half, and as the Minister's just arrived, so they've got busy days, but we've certainly braced this on a number of occasions.
And I met one of the councillors at the forum yesterday in Mackay, so yep.
Is the funding commitment from the Queensland Government a cap? Is that it? The Cairns Regional Council comes back through
Well, you've got to be mindful. Drinking water delivery is a council responsibility. They came to us and said, we need $107.5 million from the state government, we need the same from the federal government, and whatever else is included, we will have to put up for it. So that's where we're at. So whether the detailed business case comes out, whether it's a little bit more, that will be on the Cairns Regional Council to put that extra funding in. You've got to remember, at this point in time, with the funding they've asked for, that's it. That's what they've asked for, that's what they've gotten in both the budget from our government and from the federal government during their election and the commitment that they made to this project.
Okay, anything else on water? Okay, good. Anything else today?
Treasurer, Japan's ambassador to Australia says Japanese companies have been left, let's say, a bit shocked by the new tiered mining tax. Do you acknowledge that this tax could cause some damage to investment in Queensland?
Look, our relationship with Japan is one that's strong, it's valuable and it's important. And that's been the nature of our relationship with Japan for many decades, and it will continue to be a strong, valuable and important relationship for many decades to come. But the truth of the matter is, these resources belong to the people of Queensland. The people of our state deserve a fair deal for their resources. The people of our state deserve a fair deal for their coal. And that's exactly what bipartisan progressive coal royalties deliver for the people. Money that we can invest in hospitals. The $250 million expansion of the Cairns Hospital. Those regional communities that contribute through fly-in, fly-out workers, through engineering and technical services, all throughout our state, whether it be Mackay, Townsville, Cairns. We're building a new hospital in Moranbah. All of those communities deserve a return. They deserve a fair share of those resources, and that's what we're delivering. And the other point I'd make about bipartisan coal royalties is exactly that. These progressive coal royalties were supported across the Parliament. Not one member of Parliament, the LNP, the Greens, One Nation, Katter's Australian Party, the Independents, not one member of Parliament voted against them. There was no division. The only argument was about process. No one even argued in the Parliament on the substance. And why is that? Because it's good public policy to take the resources that belong to the people, and particularly when coal companies are seeing record prices for coal, super profits going back to coal companies. In fact, in the year to March this year, the value of Queensland coal exported increased in 1 year by $24 billion. So it's only fair that we look to get $1.2 billion over 4 years back to our people so we can invest in hospitals across Queensland, particularly in regional Queensland, where this money will go.
Japanese companies, mining companies, invest in other areas, other resource areas, particularly here in far north Queensland, bauxite, things like this. There's a report in the Australian today where the ambassador says some Japanese companies are already questioning whether Queensland is a good place to be investing money in these things. Is there already damage occurred to these relationships, and if so, what's being done to repair it?
We've got a strong relationship with Japan, and our relationship with Japan is more than coal, and it's been more than coal for many decades, and that will continue. You know, the people of our state know that this has been the longest period of stability in coal royalties since the current coal royalty regime began in 1994. So the 10-year freeze is the longest period of stability in coal royalties this state has ever seen. That's a promise we made and we delivered, 10 years of certainty. It's 28 years since the current coal royalty regime came in, and there's never been a longer period of stability. But coal royalties have gone up in the past, and the ambassador and others will know. They went up in 1994, in 1998, in 2001, in 2012, and the industry continued to prosper and grow. And I'd also say this. I note the LNP's made a few comments, critical today. They didn't oppose any of this. They didn't oppose any of this in the Parliament. In fact, they support the increase on a bipartisan basis of progressive coal royalties. And when the Leader of the Opposition was in government in 2012, they jacked up royalties 30% higher than we have, with no consultation with anyone. I mean, I sat down with the coal companies. I looked at them across the table. I said new tiers would be introduced. I told them directly. So this is just rank hypocrisy by David Crisafulli and the LNP. Why? Because the bloke's been in witness protection all of this week. He has run a campaign of deceit and dishonesty for months about the Office of the Integrity Commissioner, running around Queensland with a hashtag saying, what's on the laptop? What was on the laptop? Absolutely nothing. He misled Queenslanders, and the man still doesn't have the character to stand up and apologise. He's happy to play politics with our relationship with Japan. He's happy to play politics with our resource industry. He's happy to play politics with integrity. But when he's caught out misleading the people, he won't apologise. And I think that says volumes about the character of the man and why Queenslanders fundamentally cannot trust him. Because if he's not willing to apologise for misleading the people about this campaign of integrity, then Queenslanders know this. They can never trust another word that he says. All right, anything else? Well, that's great. Thanks for coming along. Great to see you.